Hello friends, my name is Aaliyah and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my December TBR. So I'll be honest with you, this TBR is going to be real chaotic. Honestly, December in general is going to be really chaotic because I have finals for university and it's my last semester, so I have to do all these final projects, otherwise I won't graduate. No pressure though, no pressure. So the first few weeks of December is going to be me madly trying to finish up my final projects, but then after that I have Christmas break and I'm graduated. So, and I also work at the university, so I'm not going to be working or doing school stuff or anything. So I think I'm going to have lots of time to read like the last few weeks of December. So I picked a lot of books. I have kind of an ambitious TBR and I have no idea what I'm actually going to read. So this is more of like a pile of things that I've been eyeing that I'm probably gonna like mood read my way through in December and just read whatever I feel like reading in between projects and all the other stuff. So let's just get into it. So the first one I want to try to get to is the Rogue Protocol by Martha Wells. So this is book 3 in the Murderbot Diaries novella series, and I've been really enjoying that. I just read book 2 this month and I loved it, so I want to continue with that. But I'm not sure when my hold is going to come in from the library, so whenever I get that I'll probably read it right away. But that's one that I definitely want to get to. And then another one I want to get to is My Lady Jane. So this is going to be a reread for me. I read this book back in high school, so it's been, I don't know, like 4 years, probably 5 years maybe, since I read this book. But I read the whole trilogy and now there's a spin-off trilogy that's been published. So books 1 and 2 were now out in the spin-off trilogy, and so I want to get to those. But the first book in the spin-off trilogy is in the same world as the first book from the original trilogy. So I want to reread My Lady Jane. I really enjoyed this when I read it. It's really funny. It's about this girl named Jane, and she is kind of a part of this royal family. I think her cousin is the king or like the heir to the throne, and their family is really interesting because some of the members of their family can like shapeshift into animals, which is cool, but it's like a forbidden thing in this world, so they kind of like do it on the down low. And so it's about this girl named Jane, and she can like shapeshift into an animal, and she ends up like getting into this arranged marriage with this guy, and their banter is really funny, and they end up having to like go on this whole adventure to like save the kingdom and stuff. Anyways, it's a whole thing, but it was really fun when I read it, and so I want to read that one. And then I want to try to get to My Contrary Mary, which is the first book in the spin-off series. So this one I think is about this girl named Mary who is supposed to be like, it's supposed to be a retelling of like the Mary Queen of Scots, and so I think she might also be able to shapeshift into an animal, and she might be like somehow related to the family from book 1 of the other trilogy. So anyways, I want to try to get to that. I got an arc of it like ages ago, but I never got around to reading it because it was an audiobook arc, and the narrator had like the most monotone voice I've ever heard in my life. So sorry NetGalley, but it wasn't gonna happen. So I want to get to that one now, but both of those I'm gonna have to get from the library, and I haven't placed a hold on them yet. So anyways, those are things that are on the list, but I haven't gotten around to getting my hands on them yet. Okay, so let's get into the books that I have physically. So the first one I wanted to tell you about is Redemptor. So this is, sorry about the glare, it's these library covers, you know how it is. So this is the sequel to Raybearer, which I read this summer, and I was like kind of into Raybearer. I gave it like 3.5, 4 stars or so. I enjoyed it, but I do want to see where this series goes. I'm also not really sure if it's a duology or a series or what, but that is one I would like to try to get to. I really love the way this cover looks, and I'm interested to see like what happens with this world and these characters and stuff. So yeah, that's one that I want to try to get to. And then another one I want to get to is one that people have been like freaking out about this, and I just want to know what the hype is about, and that's Lore Olympus. So I guess this is a graphic novel that was originally published as a webtoon, and people were like super into it, and now it finally got published as like a hard copy book, and everyone is like freaking out. So I just want to know what it's about. I guess it's a Hades and Persephone retelling, and it has these like really cool illustrations. Everything is like pink and blue, and it sounds like it's going to be about a lot of drama and romance between all of these different gods in Olympus. Yeah, I've heard there's some trigger warnings for like questionable consent and like maybe emotional abuse and things like that, but yeah, so I'm interested in reading that just because I want to know what the hype is about. And then another one I've been hearing good things about lately is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. So lots of people have been saying this is like their favorite thriller of 2021, so I requested that my library get this, and they just got it and it just came in. So I definitely want to try to get to this soon. I think this is supposed to be like kind of a dark academia thriller, and I think it's about this like group of friends, and they were like friends in college, and I think somebody died, and now they've come back together to try and figure out like who the killer was or something like that. I don't know, but it sounds interesting to me. One thing I will say is that it bugs me that the title is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, but there's scissors on the cover. Can we just contemplate that for a minute? Like, why? I don't know, but it bugs me just a little. And then another one I got from the library is Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. So yes, I did get an arc of this. No, I didn't have time to read it because it came out right before school started in the fall. So I definitely want to get to this. It's supposed to be a noir thriller, and it's written by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, who also wrote Mexican Gothic, which I really enjoyed. So this is definitely one I want to get to. I think I'm going to enjoy this, but I have heard some like mixed things, so I'm not totally sure, but it's definitely on my pile of things I need to get to sooner rather than later. And then I have another one I want to reread, and that's Aurora Rising. So the third book in this trilogy just came out in November, and so now it's a completed trilogy, and I read book 1 and I read like half of book 2, and then I like DNF'd it because I didn't really like the direction that the story was going in. But I think that, I don't know, I've heard good things about the ending of book 2, which I never actually read, so I want to like go back and reread book 1, read book 2, and then see if I actually want to read book 3 or not, and kind of like figure out what my thoughts are on this whole trilogy, because I read book 1 and I loved it, and then I had to wait like a year for book 2 to come out, and so I think it's just that time in between kind of hindered my enjoyment of the series. So anyways, this is one I want to get to again. I've been pretty into sci-fi lately, so I think that this might be something that happens in December, or at least book 1. We'll see about reading book 2 and possibly book 3. That's probably going to be like maybe a January, February endeavor for me. And then another book I want to try to get to, I guess I should preface this by saying I have a lot of ideas of booktube content I want to make for December, so I kind of want to try to do vlogmas and make like a ton of videos in December and just like go crazy. Is that gonna be actually possible? I don't know. I might do some pre-filming and just like really go hard, like nobody asked, but I just want to do it. So one of my ideas was making a video about like finishing series, or maybe like continuing series. So this is part of that half-baked idea that I have like hanging out in the back of my head. So the book I want to read is Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. So I read all of the other books in the series, and I own all of them, and I usually read them like in the summer by the pool, which is kind of like a weird choice, but I like to read murder mysteries by the pool while I get tan in the summer sometimes, and these are usually the books I go to for that. But I also really like to read murder mysteries and kind of like more historical stuff in the wintertime. So I remember I read Hunting Prince Dracula at Christmas one year. And I really had a good time doing that. So I was thinking maybe I'll do that for this, and I'll include this in like a finishing series, some kind of video about that. So anyways, this is kind of a chunky one, which is why I don't think I've read it yet. And then this one is also supposed to be set in America, which I'm like confused about that because I saw the cover and for some reason I originally thought it was set in like Egypt or something. I don't know if it's the yellow and black or what, but that is not true. I totally made that up in my head. So this is supposed to be set in America, and as usual we follow Audrey, Rose, and Thomas Cresswell. And Audrey is into forensics, and she and Thomas usually like go around and solve murders and do like autopsies on dead bodies and try and figure out like why these people are dying and what's going on and stuff like that. So if you like murder mysteries and you like young adult, I would recommend this. And the first book is about Jack the Ripper, so that's why I originally got into it. But I'm interested to see what I think about this because I thought that book 3 was good, but it wasn't my favorite. I really like Audrey, Rose, and Thomas Cresswell's like relationship, and I didn't like that the author tried to like, I don't know, cause like disputes between them in book 3. I was like, no, like this is already an established thing, like stop trying to like pretend like they're gonna break up or something, like no. So hopefully there's less like boy-girl drama in this, and it's more just like somebody's dead, let's figure out what happened. So anyways, that's that on that. And then another one I want to get to, sorry this doesn't have a cover. The library likes to take book covers off sometimes, which really sucks. But it's The Last House on Needless Street by Katrina Ward. So I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, so this is one that everybody has been saying is super good and super weird. So apparently this is I don't know, it's shelved on Goodreads as a horror novel, so I'm not sure if it's like a horror or a thriller or what. But I've heard that it follows this family, and there's a dad who's kind of a quirky dude, and there's a daughter, and then they have a pet cat. And I think this is a multi-POV story about an old house, like a creepy old house. And I don't really know. It says on here it's a shocking journey that will keep you guessing until the last page, so I don't really know what that means. But I've heard that there's like 3 POVs, the dad, the daughter, and the cat. So I'm just really interested in the cat POV. I just want to read from the point of view of a cat. I just need to know what that's about. I also wonder, like, is the cat nice, or is this like a sinister cat? I don't know, but I'm intrigued. So that's another one I want to get to at some point. So that's pretty much all the books I have for you for this December TBR. I have no idea what I'm gonna end up reading. So I don't know. Look out for like a winter wrap up from me at some point, I guess. Or if you want, you can go follow me on my Instagram. I always have that link down below, and I usually update that pretty frequently about like what I'm currently reading and stuff like that. So if that interests you, then you can go check that out. I also leave my Twitter and my Goodreads link down below, and I also update those a lot. So if you want to follow me on other platforms, those are down below for you. Another thing I might do in December is there's a readathon called the Reindeer Readathon, and it's hosted by Eric from Break Even Books. And I just discovered this readathon, and it has some really cool prompts that I think these books could fit into. So I might try to participate in that in December a little bit as well, and maybe like include that in my vlogmas content, possibly, who knows. All of that remains to be seen. But yes, these are all the books I'm gonna try to read in December. Wish me luck. And If you are not subscribed, I would love it if you could consider doing so. I usually post books every Wednesday, but for December I'm probably going to be posting a lot more content. So if you want to see more from me, remember to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next week for another video.